Most people think that living in the future is a recipe to prevent something, or being trapped by the past or regretting the past makes them a better person or gives them the moral high ground. But the reality is, living in the future based on fear and regretting the past is leaving us in an endless cycle where we cannot live in the present moment. And this is perpetuated by the fear, the media, social conditioning, all of the people in all of the news and all of the impressions that we see. You know exactly what it feels like. Every time that you try to stay in the moment, something steals your attention away from it. Something elicits fear so that you start looking in that future. Or something comes up on the TV or the news that brings up a past fear or a past regret or something that you went through. You know exactly what this feels like, to continuously being stolen away from right now. And you've probably tried meditating or staying still or talking it out with somebody. You've tried all of these different methods, but all of those methods are missing a crucial step. And this step is what I call momentary fixation release, because we're not asking the right questions and answering them to induce awareness. And so I definitely don't want to talk about spiritual bypassing or meditating our way out or asking the universe to give us stuff and manifestation. That's not what this is about. This is about being able to ask the correct questions that help us bring our focus into the present moment, help you bring your focus here, now, and slowly create an awareness that gives us the ability to live in the present moment and also create our future. We're going to look at how we can break this spell of the past and the future so that we can receive divine intuition, so that we can create our now rather than receive or wait for receiving. And once you break this spell, you're going to be empowered to be able to do all of this stuff daily. So if you really look at your life, if you really look at this moment, like, you have everything that you need. You have water, food, shelter, and you have air to breathe. We don't live in a toxic environment. We don't live in an environment where we don't have the ability to have everything that we need. But for some reason, we still seek out something outside of this moment. We still want to plan for this future because we're afraid of looking like somebody else or outside of the herd. We start to seek to fit in rather than stand out. And this is a huge reason why we do regret the past, or why we do have fear of the future. But the fact is that, like, when we get divine intuition, we get that in the moment. We get it as a streamlined, steady flow rather than something that we find in the future or the past. And what happens as a result of this is that the more fear you shadow under and the more regret that you fight against, the more that this lock or this constraint, this snake starts to wrap around you and hold you hostage to so many different thoughts that begin to crowd out that divine intuition. And almost to a point where you don't even recognize yourself. You don't even know what the intuition or what you're supposed to do. And so as a result of that is you start to seek out answers from different people, whether it's looking on YouTube, and I know the irony of this, or you start to answer shop and just talk to a whole bunch of people because you don't know what to do. And over time, you do start to want to fit in, and you start to develop this mentality of that you need this cookie cutter life. And I've done it. I've been there. Like, I had the cookie cutter life, and thank the universe that I was able to be empowered to break out of that. This cookie cutter life isn't conducive to expression. It doesn't help us be expressive or stand out in the way that promotes diversity and a spiritual connection with people around us. It just makes us compare to other people. And so this is the cost of living in the future and the past narrowed down. So not only are we outside of this moment, but we are also chasing an image that people have curated for us, because we're not getting the answers from this connection that we should have with your divine self, your spark inside. But in the moment, what tends to happen is that there is a lot of stuff that does hold you hostage from the past. It holds you hostage. And so it is extremely necessary to do shadow work to be able to find out the lessons that you were meant to learn in those experiences, to bring them into the future and help somebody else with it. And that's the shadow work. So there's a DDE online course that you can take to do this. It's self-paced shadow work course that you can do. But we have to be able to recognize some of the stuff, the lessons that it holds in the past, to really set us free from it. And then when we learn those lessons, we give those back to the universe. But until we do that, we're still going to be trapped by it. And we're going to be in the fear of the future of that stuff not happening again. And so there's a couple of questions that you can ask yourself in order to start to break the spell. And the first question is that, is this a fear and where does it come from? Is this a fear and where did it come from? Because recognizing that it is a fear also recognizes that it is something from the past that has created the fear, or something that somebody else told you you should fear. And when you do this, it starts to lose power. And the second question is that, is this a regret and whose voice is it? So is there something that you did in the past where you were shamed for it? And by shame, meaning, did somebody else talk down to you or point that out as something bad? And whose voice is that regret coming from? And the third question is, am I attentive to what I'm doing in this very moment, or am I somewhere else? And by somewhere else, I don't mean the past or the future. I mean, am I at another place at this moment? Am I wishing that I was doing something other than what I'm actually doing? And what these questions will do is actively challenge you to think about what you're thinking about, this idea of consciousness, and where you observe your thoughts rather than be attached to them. And this is going to inherently help you detach from those thoughts so you can look at them objectively. And you're also going to start to notice what your ego wants you to feel, what it wants you to think about, like everything that it does to keep you away from that connection. And then also the questions encourage you to naturally see the lessons from those fears so you can be empowered to navigate them, and utilize them for people and for yourself. And then the last thing it's going to do is you're going to begin to disregard them by first recognizing that they're not actually your thoughts. They're somebody else's thoughts, or a situation that was produced thoughts. And so you start disregarding them altogether and noticing that they don't hold any depth and weight. And when we can start to clear all of this extra noise that we have, then the amount of thoughts that come in our heads start to slow down naturally, just by asking these three questions. And when those thoughts start to slow down, we can start to really listen and hear what our intuition is saying from our heart, from our connection. And when you start to hear that insight from deep within yourself, when you start to hear the answers, the intuition, you start to develop more trust in yourself, and you stop going around asking other people what you should do, because you inherently know what to do. You were born with a connection and with an intuition that is more powerful than anything that you can get outside of yourself. more powerful than the answers from the past, or more powerful than the answers in the future. And I have a lot of experience where those just come flooding back in. And the more I just start to dance with those thoughts that are flooding in, the more I lose track of my footing. And I end up having two left feet who has no solid ground to base my actions on. And when we do bring our mind back into the body in this method, those thoughts are going to come and try to shroud us so much that we don't want to be in our body. We want to be somewhere else. Those worries and fears and remorse, those are all going to come flooding back. You can bring your focus to your physical body, to your body. So after you ask those 3 questions and give them an honest look and review and answer them honestly, bring your awareness into your body, something, a physical sensation. I do some tapping sometimes, or I'll try to feel the energy on my hands. And this will completely get rid of all of those thoughts, 100%, all thoughts gone. And this is the step that I was talking about at the beginning of the video. This momentary fixation release, where in the moment I'm fixating on something sensational, something physically, a sensation on my body to release me from all thoughts. When we start to develop these muscles, this intuitive thought of asking these questions and answering them and then bringing our focus to our physical body, we're doing a couple things. Like, we are in the moment. Literally, there's nothing that is stealing our attention away, because you can't focus on a physical sensation and think about something somewhere else at the same time. The two cannot be true. They are mutually exclusive. What ends up happening over time is you start to be able to listen to this intuition and know what to do and build the trust within yourself. And you start to be genuine and authentic, because you have that self-worth, that trust that you are connected to something that is going to be a driving force in your life. I love y'all. Peace.